משנה ג' כבר הזכרנו בפתיחה למסכתנו, we already mentioned in the beginning of the tractate, שהמעביר חפץ בשבת ברשות הרבים 4 אמות, דינו כמוציא מרשות לרשות. So now you're walking in the public domain, and you're carrying an object for 4 feet, 4 אמות, 2 meters around. So if you take an object 2 meters in the public domain, it's just like being from one domain to another domain. You're obligated, even though it's the same domain, it's public domain. וחייב בשוגג חטאת, if you did it by mistake, you bring a sin offering, ומזיד מיתה. And if you did it on purpose, death. הלכה זו למדו חכמים מפי השמועה. Now, this is a strange one. Shmuah means Moshe Rabbeinu came down from the mountain. He didn't give us a verse. He didn't give us any proof. There's no kal vachomer. It's not logic. That's the way he said it. He said it. Yeah. Gamara gamirile. It says Shmuah. It says this is what we received. Otherwise, if you could learn it from a verse, or even if you could deduce it logically from somewhere else, it will bring it. But it says there's no verses, there's no. This is Moshe came down the mountain, he told us. That's it. והוא הדין בזורק חפץ ברשות הרבים 4 אמות. The same thing if you throw the object 4 feet. Yeah? שהוא חייב, is obligated. שתולדת הוצאה מרשות לרשות היא. Because this is a tolda of what Moshe told us. Moshe told us do not take an object, and if you throw an object, it's a tolda of that. It's an offspring. משנתנו עוסקת בפרטי דינים של הזורק ברשות הרבים. Our Mishnah comes to teach us in the details. So let's see. הזורק 4 אמות בכותל. Interesting. So now...
But here he's talking about from רשות הרבים לרשות הרבים?
רשות הרבים to רשות הרבים.
You can do it.
You cannot pass an object
in רשות הרבים.
In רשות הרבים. That's walking on Shabbos. That's why you're not allowed to walk with things on Shabbos. How come on Shabbos, why you don't carry your keys to shul?
Oh, you can carry.
That's it. That's exactly.
זריקה זה כמו carry?
זריקה is a tolda of carrying.
Okay.
That's what I say. And since carrying, we didn't discuss carrying until now. This is the first time we discussed carrying in the public domain. Until now, we were already discussing private domain to public domain, or public domain to private domain. We never discussed this before.
Public to public, okay.
Yeah, over here it's public to public, but it's more than 4 amot. If it's more than 4 amot in the public domain, you're obligated to rise. How do you know this? They didn't do it in the Mishkan. So it says it's not from the Mishkan, it's only this. It's Moshe came down from the mountain, he told it to us. Okay. But now it's going to become a little bit strange. Hazorek 4 amot bakotel. You're in the public domain, and you throw 4 amot, you're obligated. But over here you threw 4 amot, and it landed on a wall above 10 tfachim. רשות הרבים, it's not רשות הרבים now.
Above 10 tfachim?
Above 10 tfachim.
You learn, the air is רשות הרבים.
No, the מקום פטור. Above 10 tfachim is מקום פטור. You remember that?
אני חשבתי, above 10 tfachim, זה become to be רשות הרבים, air.
No, פטור, not רשות הרבים.
זה רשות...
This is in רשות הרבים.
Oh.
In רשות הרבים, above 10 tfachim.
Okay.
It's not a private domain.
Okay.
It's public to public above 10 tfachim.
Okay.
הזורק 4 אמות בכותל, זרק חפץ 4 אמות ברשות הרבים, והטיחו בכותל, and it stuck to the wall. I know, it was pita. It stuck to the wall. למעלה מ10 טפחים. Now it stuck above 10 טפחים. בגמרא מבואר, says how did it stuck? כגון שזרק דבלה שמנה. He threw a fat fig. ונדבקה בפני כותל למעלה מ10 טפחים. And it got stuck in the wall above 10 tfachim. So we said above 10 tfachim is patur.
It's patur.
Patur, מקום פטור.
למה patur? Because it's not רשות הרבים there, but it's... What is it above 10 tfachim? I don't know. Think about it this way. רשות היחיד makes sense. Okay.
Right? Reshut HaYachid makes Reshut HaYachid all the way to the roof is yours. Reshut HaRabim, yeah, it's a public domain, but there's a place where it's not public domain anymore. What do you mean it's not public domain? I'll give you an example from your house. Does the city need permission to fly airplane above your property? Why? It's not yours. Even in the private domain, it's not yours.
Okay.
The air above the property is not yours. When you buy something, you buy only land rights and living rights. And living rights has a place where I'm walking, let's say, up to whatever it is.
So who does it belong to?
So the public domain belongs to the public.
Okay.
But above 10 tfachim, it belongs to no one. Yeah, and there's a difference. By the way, we don't want to go into it. It's very complicated. There's a debate, what's public domain? There's two ways to look at public domain. You can look at public domain as we all share in it. It belongs to all of us. Every one of us has a share. Or you can look at it, no one has any interest in it. But whichever,
it doesn't belong to nobody.
Whichever way you want to look at it, the air above it doesn't belong to it. Even to those who says we all share in it, the air is not.
Okay.
That's where it becomes the difference.
Okay.
So over here it lands on the side of the wall, above 10 טפחים, מקום פטור. כזורק באוויר הוא פטור, שכן למעלה מ10 טפחים, ברשות הרבים מקום פטור. In the public domain it's מקום פטור. למטה מ10 טפחים, but if you threw it below 10 טפחים, אבל אם נדבקה הדבלה בכותל למטה מ10 טפחים, it's stuck below the 10 טפחים, כזורק בארץ. Now you're going to be obligated, it's on the earth. It's on the earth. It is in the public domain from 4 amot from where you were. So now you're going to be obligated, bring a sin offering if it was by mistake, or if it wasn't by mistake, death penalty. 4 אמות ברשות, שכן הזורק בארץ 4 אמות ברשות הרבים, because anybody who throws 4 אמות in the public domain חייב, he's obligated. כדין המעביר 4 אמות ברשות הרבים. Just like if you take it, you walk with it 4 feet in רשות הרבים, in the public domain. שתולדות הצעה in that, because throwing is an offspring of carrying. בגמרא מבואר, in the Gemara it explains, שמשנתנו באה להשמיע, that our Mishnah came to teach us, שאף על פי שאין מקום זריקת החפץ לכותל, אלא 4 אמות מצומצמות. And here comes the thing. It says, it has a chiddush over here. What's the chiddush? The chiddush is, from where you threw the stone to the kotel, it's exactly 4 amot. Which means that it did not go 4 amot. It went less than 4 amot. Because it got stuck to the wall. And even then it tells you, even in such a case, you're going to be chayav. Because it's standing on the 4 amot line, even though it's protruding on this side. This is the chiddush of the Mishnah. Okay. If it was 4 to 4, for sure you're chayav. But you should know that even if it's
missing a little bit,
I don't know if you call miss it. It's called mitzumtzam. 4 amot mitzumtzam, or you know how you have it if you were measuring stuff with the
wall or without the wall.
Or in other words, you take the edge or you go up to the edge. And if you look at the middle, there's a small little difference between them. If you take the edge, it slides a little bit, and if you go into the edge, it slides in a little bit. So that's called midah metzumtzemet. It's measuring, it's מצומצם. אין אומרים שמחמת עובי הדבילה, we're not going to say that because it is thick, נטמעתה הזריקה מ4 אמות, it is less than 4 אמות, כדי מקום הדבילה, like the place of the דבילה. וכיוון שאין כאן 4 אמות הוא פטור, we're not going to say that since there's no 4 אמות, he's not obligated, אלא הואיל והדבילה אינה מתבטלת בכותל, אין עוביה ממעט כלום. It says the fact, we don't measure the דבלה at all, let's say.
Boy, I see that you can't throw even stones on Shabbos. You can't even...
No.
More than 4 amma, you can't throw the
That's
stone.
right.
I mean, you can touch the stone, but...
Yeah, something that you're allowed to.
Throw Shabbos stones
That's
on
right.
cars like nothing.
Private domain, you might be allowed to.
It's
Public
not
domain.
private. It's public.
Not allowed to. Not allowed to.
No.
זרק לתוך 4 אמות. What happened if the person threw it? Now it's a ball. Think about the ball. He threw it less than 4 amot. He threw it 3 amot. And then it rolled out of the 4 amot. What now?
זה חייב.
You're saying חייב.
הוא זרק, זה שזה מתגלגל.
But אני זרקתי 3 אמות.
He's תוצאה שלו.
That God did the rest. I didn't do the rest.
You throw too hard. You are responsible for the
Okay.
action, Adam.
So let me ask you a question. I threw it 3 amos and a wind came and took it. And now it's 4 amot.
Then, לא חייב.
Then לא חייב. That's what you, it's almost the same.
That's how it
Okay,
works.
let's see. זרק לתוך 4 אמות, he threw it inside of the 4 אמות, שכוונתו איתו שיפול החפץ הנזרק על ידו בתוך 4 אמות. He didn't want to throw it 4 אמות, he wanted to throw it 3 אמות. We said, by the way, it looks like for sure he's not going to be chayav.
Will be chayav.
He will not be, it looks like.
No.
We said melechet machshevet. You remember on Shabbat you need to have the intention.
כן.
So maybe because of this, we will see. I'm not sure, I'm just talking. ונתגלגלה חוץ ל4 אמות, and the object rolled out of the 4 אמות, ממקום שזרק, from the place that he threw, פטור, he's not obligated. לפי שלא התכוון לזרוק 4 אמות, because it wasn't his intention to throw the 4 אמות. ויש מבארים, and there are those who explain, even without intention, it's not obligated. יש מבארים שהחפץ נח תחילה בתוך 4 אמות. And there are those who says that the object rested a little bit inside of the 4 אמות, אילכך אין הגלגול שלאחר הנחתו מחייבותו. Therefore, the fact that it rolled afterward, it doesn't make him obligated. What do you mean nach if it's a kadur? Now the question is, what is called nach?
It's nach. It stand for a second, and then let's say it was down the hill already. It stand, and then suddenly start to
roll down the hill by itself.
Stop sign. You know how a stop sign? The police tell you have to stop. You
complete
can't
stop.
keep rolling.
So it says you did not, according to this, if it did not come to a complete stop, you're going to be obligated.
That's, I think, that's my...
But because, the question is, are you going to say now, because you didn't have the intention, you're obligated or you're not obligated? I'm not sure. You can learn 2 ways here. You can learn 2 ways.
Okay. Whatever we learn in the beginning is a patur, because you didn't have the intention.
You can learn this, when are you patur? Only when it's nach. You can learn that maybe. Maybe you can learn that. When are you patur? Only when it's nach. Or you can learn you're patur because you didn't have the intention at all. 2 ways to learn it. It's probably מחלוקת.
Okay.
Yeah. חוץ ל4 אמות. If you throw it out of the 4 אמות, yeah. אם זרק חוץ ל4 אמות ונתגלגל לתוך 4 אמות, this is even better.
Going back.
Now it went back. Are now you obligated?
בטח. You throw more than 4 amot. The fact that it rolled back...
No. Look. If you're going to say, we go after the place it rests, why are you saying in the previous case, where you threw it 3, and it went more than 3, and it did not rest, let's say we say you chayav.
Because your intention.
Let's say you say you're chayav. Let's say we say you're chayav in that case. So now, if you're saying you're chayav in the previous case, shouldn't you say you pato in this case?
The only way you can say patu if you didn't mean to throw it more than 4
You did. I did.
If you mean to throw it more than 4 amot,
I did.
You throw it more than 4 amot and then the roll back, you still threw it.
Oh, so, no.
That's the question is,
you
go by where the ball fall down, or you go by where it end up.
Very good. So in the previous example that we gave, you wanted 3 and it was 4. We said you're not obligated because you didn't have the intention. Okay. And then we says that's where we learned it. But then we said there's a second opinion that says I don't care the fact that it did not rest. It continued to roll. I go after the end of the roll.
Okay.
We don't go after the beginning of the roll. We go after the end of the roll. And therefore you are chayav. According to that opinion, maybe you can say over here, I go after the end of the roll. And the end of the roll, patur. Maybe you can say that. Maybe you can say that. Or you can say, since it was halfway through, it went more. You can see the problem.
Well, I think
but that's the Gemara. We're not going to go into it. But you can, just to see all the sides. ונתגלגל לתוך הארבעות. בגמרא מבואר, כגון שנח על גיא במשהו חוץ לארבע אמות, קודם שנתגלגל חייב. ברם, אם לא נח כלל, הרי זה פטור. If he didn't rest at all, then it's patur, because it's continuing to roll, and it rolled less than 4 amos. And this is the way the Rambam looks at it. Yeah?
how is
We go according to where it landed, not to where you threw it. That's what the Rambam says. I don't care where you threw it. I care where it ended. As long as it did not rest in any of the places, you found. Now the question is going to be, what does rest mean? How long?
Okay.
What does rest mean? A millisecond?
So in other words, I take a ball, I throw it into the wall,
Maybe it's rested there.
and then it starts to roll back, and it rolls all the way here to me.
Yeah. The question is, when it was on the wall, did it rest there?
No? It jumped.
No, but there's a time where it goes like this. So the question is going to be,
What is the rest?
What is rest? Exactly. What is rest? Because over there it did rest. It stopped and it moved back. There had to be a point. Yeah? I can measure the time. There was a time period over there where it was on the wall, touching the wall the entire time.
Right.
Maybe
Millisecond.
whatever it is, there was a time that it. So maybe that's called rest, maybe not. I don't know. ויש סוברים שאפילו לא נוח על גבי משהו. There are those who think, even if it did not rest on something, אלא נתעכב מעט באוויר, just like I said, that's right, על ידי הרוח, or נתעכב מעט even על ידי הרוח, it means that the wind stopped it and then took it back, ואחר כך נדע תוך 4, הרי הוא חייב, then he's obligated. Okay.